Because wages are rising, this Thanksgiving dinner is the fourth cheapest ever.
And this is the kind of work, frankly, that is happening around the country.
So speaking of things that could catch fire under the 10 freeway.
I am gender neutral, so I am not a female nor am I a male. I would be in between.
In case you needed a lesson in pronouns, we've got that coming up for you. Also, KJP tells you that everything is cheap now, so believe her. And of course, we'll go through the entirety of the California 10 freeway craziness. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that's not necessarily being talked about. And I know this is a local issue, but it should be a national story. All that coming up on this episode of Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go!
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from the dingy bunker that is completely and totally and utterly cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. Thanks so much for tuning in on today. It is Tuesday, November 21st, the year of our Lord 2023. I hope you have been having a great day. It's been a while since we've all hung out together. I feel like we've been traveling quite a bit. We were in Texas last week, did a bunch of the comedy shows over the weekend, but we're back, we're here, we're live, we're in the dingier of the dingy bunkers, and ready to talk about what I think should be a massive story that hasn't been getting a ton of attention, including here because we haven't really been on enough to be able to talk about it. But that massive story is the California 10 freeway. Now, if you know anything about California, you know that the government is not good at doing things. They are often make things worse in a lot of cases. And that is the case in California. So to catch you up to speed, again, I understand that this is a local story, but I feel like this is such... The vice president was here to gloat about it. The future presidential candidate for the Democratic Party, the governor of California, was talking about it. Their senators were here. The LA mayor was here. There are so many different people that are trying to bask in the sunlight of government, possibly doing something good, but also just fixing their own mistake. I want to start off with this video. This is Kamala Harris, Vice President, United States of California, talking about what's going on the 10 freeway. Now, the freeway had a fire. We'll get to that in just a second. There was a big old fire. It was a homeless encampment, but again, we'll get to that in a second. They said the freeway is going to be closed for 3 to 5 weeks. I think Gavin said 5 to 8 weeks. They ended up getting it open earlier than that, and now all of the politicians are taking credit for it. Kamala Harris, again, back in her home state, saying, look at how great of a job everyone did fixing the problem that we caused by allowing homeless encampments to build up underneath the freeways. Anyways, this is Kamala Harris, Vice President of the United States, doing her thing, talking about the freeway incident. Watch this.
The work that happened here is extraordinary. And it really is a function of the will and the ambition of the workers on the ground who understood what closure of the 10 would mean for folks on a daily basis, and their commitment as public servants, as union members, to get this thing done. In many cases, working as many as 14 hours a day out of sheer commitment and a sense of duty and responsibility to deliver for the people of Los Angeles. Governor, Madam Mayor, the Senator, we all talked on a daily basis practically, and the estimates were that this was going to take a long time. And this is the kind of work, frankly, that is happening around the country.
Yeah, this is the kind of work that's happening around the country. Everything is just so good. Again, I think it's hilarious that the vice president, the governor of the state, the mayor of the city, the senator for the state, where was what's their face? The other senator, the senator that lives in Maryland, the California senator. I don't even remember her name, but the appointee that Gavin appointed, again, senator from California that lives in Maryland. I don't know where she was, but every big major political figure in California down there taking credit for fixing a problem fast. Now, I guess we'll say this at the onset. That's what they're supposed to do. It's crazy how much people are reveling in the miracle of government doing what it's supposed to do, which I think should tell you something about how people generally view the government. When you have a government entity that does its job, everyone's like, whoa, wow, look at how amazing this is. When in reality, if you're working at a grocery store stocking shelves and you stock a shelf, nobody goes, wow, holy cow, look at, you did your job. But also, I guess that analogy could be extended to say, well, first of all, you're not going to get a congratulatory speech or nobody's going to commemorate you doing your job. But also, if you were the one that destroyed the shelf to begin with, if you're a grocery store worker stocking shelves, nobody's definitely going to applaud you or congratulate you for finishing the job. And what I mean to say is the California 10 freeway, the closure was caused because there was a fire. Now, if you dig into it just a little bit, you'll know that California, this is a picture of what Google Maps had before the fire. It's a homeless encampment. Who would have guessed that a homeless encampment would have caught on fire? How could it have caught on fire? Who knows? No one knows how it may have caught on fire, putting the lives of people inside at risk, putting the lives of firefighters at risk, and putting the commutes of 300,000 people that use that freeway at risk. How could this possibly have happened? Well, I've got a video that details maybe, possibly, a reason as to why it happened, and a lot of things that are literally allowed in the garbage state of California. Watch this.
So speaking of things that could catch fire under the 10 freeway, looks like this guy in this homeless encampment right there has the electricity all rigged to fit his wonderful encampment, because you can see the power line goes right to his encampment right there, and he's stealing a power source. And yeah, this is right by the 10 freeway where the fire was, and you can see there's more storage under this freeway bridge right here. There's even wooden pallets over there, and then don't forget, this is a drug addict rich area where we also have piles of trash. We have discarded needles right here. All kinds of wonderful things that the homeless spend their time with using.
Well, just moments ago, Governor Newsom.
Oh, sorry. Let that run on longer than it's supposed to. But yeah, the homeless people tap in to the drug addicts tap in to the electricity of the city. They steal electricity and then wire things that are definitely not to code. And if you live in California, you understand how important the building code is. And lo and behold, there's a fire that started. Who could have guessed? Just blows. I can't believe that a fire started in a homeless encampment. 160 firefighters it took to put out that fire, damaged the 10 freeway, caused it to close down. And the estimates were going to be, like Gavin said, 5 weeks that it was going to be closed. And then, fortunately, this is good. It got opened earlier and finished. And now all of the people that allow the homeless encampments to wreak havoc on the cities, that allow people to steal electricity and make it a dangerous environment for everyone involved, the people that allow people to shoot up on drugs and just terrorize towns, now they're congratulating themselves for doing their job. It's honestly amazing. But of course, Gavin not wanting to put any blame on any of the homeless people, which, by the way, why can't the LA homeless people just go wherever the San Francisco homeless people went? I don't really know. Anyways, Gavin, not wanting to blame any of the homeless people, then told NBC News this when the NBC Nightly News covered the story on a national level. Watch this.
Well, just moments ago, Governor Newsom announcing the cause of this fire appears to have been arson. It was intentionally set. The who and how remain under investigation, David.
The charred overpass. That's right there behind you tonight, Mola. Thank you.
So, Gavin, again, maybe this is going off the deep end a little bit, but Gavin says that, the cause of this fire was arson. It wasn't any of the jerry-rigged electrical that homeless people tap into the city power, steal city power, and then run their basically homes in the tent encampments, which are It's mob rule under there. It's drug infested. It's horrible. You would never want anybody to live in that sort of situation. But Gavin, despite all of the possibilities of electrical fires from people stealing stuff, campfires that people cook their just all of the things, it was arson. Here's my question. How does Gavin know that? How did Gavin know that it was arson? I'm sure there's actually probably some real reporting out there, but there also is the possibility, maybe, that Gavin himself started the fire. Maybe it was Gavin that understood that he would get national attention from fixing this problem, i.e. doing his freaking job. And he would get the media out here and they were going to praise Gavin for getting the job done faster if he simply set the fire. Yeah, hold on. Maybe he killed two birds with one stone. Maybe that's bad. I actually think probably some people died in this fire, so I won't joke about that. That's probably not. That's probably over the line. But interesting. No, it was definitely 100% arson that caused that. But here's the last thing that I think is most poignant about this. One of the news reporters covering this in California asked Governor Newsom, said, "Hey, since I don't know, California government doesn't really get anything done ever at any point, but this was super efficient and done well, even though, again, you were covering up for your own mistake. Why then are other government projects not also this efficient? Why is that the case?" And this is how Gavin answered that. Watch this.
Hi, Governor. Alex Michelson from Fox 11 Los Angeles. Obviously, there was a lot of urgency to get this done.
Yes.
And this is an example of government working in terms of getting it open. What is the lesson learned on this urgency that may be applied to other things like homelessness or other things where we see the entire government come together and say, we're going to do this now?
No, I mean, it's intentionality at the end of the day. It's focus, it's commitment and resolve. And it's about dropping everything else and just prioritizing a middle, a beginning, and an end. We had a date with destiny in terms of our internal timelines and those that we transparently made public. And we wanted to exceed them. We wanted to beat our own best estimates. And so there was an internal competition of sorts between ourselves and agencies. There's pride in work, pride in product. That pride was reflected in Security Paving and their team and the contract.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, he basically says a bunch of nothing fluff, but I think it's a pretty good question. Hey, if you're over here patting yourselves on the back, congratulating yourselves about how well you've done this job, why then has it taken some freeways, the 57 to the 60 interchange, 20 years specifically, if you know that area, 20 years to get that up and running? How interesting. So we got this done. The estimation was 5 weeks, maybe even longer than that. Got it done in about a week, which is good, even though it was your fault to begin with. It's good that it's now done because 300,000 drivers traverse the 10 every single day. It's good, but then why has it taken 15 years to do the 91-15 interchange? Why? I realize I'm getting into the specifics of Southern California area specifically. Why is it that the 91-71 interchange is going to take another 10 years? Why is that? Because apparently things can get done in an expeditious manner if your careers are on the line. And maybe that's just a reason as to why people should pay more attention to the government. There's some funny comments that I have to get to. Chad said, global warming caused the fire. Yes. Thank you for that. Yeah, it probably was global warming. That was what caused the fire underneath the freeway. And then Mike says, only you can prevent homeless fires. Somebody, Keith said Fahrenheit 451. That would have been a funny joke if you said Fahrenheit 405, which is another major freeway artery that goes through California. But yes. So anyways, bottom line is that that is what's going on in California. If you've heard of that at all at any point, I think it's an important story because it shows how government can screw something up and then they can fix it. In other words, do their job. And then when they do that, if they can do that, they take all the credit and say, yeah. Again, let me hold on. Let's go back to this really quick. This photo right here, or this thing. I don't know why the sign language guy is in there. Closed captioning is a thing. I don't know why we need them anymore. I'm going to blow this up so you can see who's all in here. Kamala Harris, who is vice president, she's running for president from California. Gavin Newsom, governor, is also running for president. Alex Padilla, who is a senator who was appointed. California, just FYI, California has 2 appointed senators. 100% of the senators in California have not been voted for by people. Alex Padilla was appointed. He won an election last cycle, but because he was the sitting U.S. senator and technically not cool from an ethics standpoint, ran a quote-unquote re-election campaign. All of his signs, all of his tweets were saying, re-elect me. Dude never got elected in the first place. And the California voters are unfortunately stupid enough to fall for that sort of thing. So anyways, one of the California senators, the Los Angeles mayor, the vice president, and the governor, all who want to be the president of the United States for the Democratic Party, taking their opportunity to say, yes, we did our jobs here. Kamala, again, flying across the country so that she could be a part of the press conference there. Yeah, isn't that weird? Wait, yeah, where is the Maryland senator? And I say that because one of the California governor or senators lives in Maryland and is a minority or is diversity hire? Is a minority, is a diversity hire, and that's the only reason she has the job. I wish I would have been appointed the senator from California, but unfortunately, here we go. I am not a black lesbian. So that apparently, I'm not a black lesbian that lives in Maryland, which was apparently a requirement to be the senator of California, from California. Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to this because I think this is, well, let's go to this. Some lady in a boy hat talks pronouns. That's probably an unkind little caption there. But hey, I can't even do this with a straight face. We all need to know pronouns and how they should be applied to anyone and everyone. Here, thankfully, we have someone, which we don't know what gender this person is, even though it's clearly a lady. Someone is explaining how to use gender pronouns appropriately, safely, and respectfully. Watch this. Oh my gosh, somebody. Okay, well, all right. I'm reading comments while I'm doing the show, which is never a good idea. But watch this, and you too can learn how to be unbigoted.
I am gender neutral, so I am not a female nor am I a male. I would be in between. So right here would be my pronouns. So instead of she or he, you would refer as Z. Instead of her or him, you would refer as zer. Instead of her or his, it would be zer. Yes, in the back.
So I'm sorry, I'm confused. Are you Mr. Darren? Miss Darren?
No, I am teacher Darren. There would be no Mr. or Mrs. in front of that, just teacher Darren.
I'm confused. I guess I'm.
What are you confused about?
I'm confused over the whole thing.
Why do we have to learn this?
Well, because this is how the world is changing now. So the world progresses and we progress with the world. Yes, in the back.
Can we just call you by what you look like your pronouns are?
No, because that would be disrespectful. So my pronouns are Z, Zer, Zer, Zers, and Zerself. Or you can just call me Teacher Darren.
Now that I'm watching this again, this doesn't seem legit. See, but this is the problem. This is the problem here is I don't actually know if that's real. Like, is that real? We live in a world where the absurd has been so normalized, you can't tell when satire is satire. Like, it's the freaking Babylon Bee problem. Like, Is this headline a Babylon Bee headline, or is this a real headline? Is this somebody making a satirical video of the insanity of Zer self? Or is this a real person who actually thinks these things? I don't know. Teacher Darren, a lady with a boy hat. And yes, I am categorizing people who wear hats backwards, myself included. It's a boy hat. It's a man hat, if you will. But I don't know. People in the comment section are hilarious. So, okay, here's the actual question. Is this legit or not? Is this real? That is the biggest problem in the modern world, is how do you tell what is satire and what isn't? But let's assume that this is real. Let's just assume that. If it is, and this is a legitimate person saying this, here's one of the things that I think we should all do nowadays. Megyn Kelly talked about this a couple of months ago, but I feel like it should just be ingrained into all of our logical brains and how we think and how we interact with stuff like this. Even if you go along with what you already know to be obvious, at this point in time, it is no longer about respecting other people's wishes. It's about you conforming to what they want you to do. Voltaire, French philosopher, said, if they can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities. And that's what the real basis of all of this is. It's not, well, you're being disrespectful to me because I feel offended that you didn't use my self's pronouns. No, it's you as a normal person saying, I'm a man, I go by he, him pronouns. You saying that as if it's not obvious to anybody listening is you capitulating to what they want you to do. In other words, even if you just play along with the, look, this is whatever, sure, my pronouns are he, him. Everybody knows your pronouns are he, him, Jeff. Picked a random he, him name. Everybody knows what your pronouns are. It's not about actually displaying your pronouns. It's not about being an ally, whatever that means. It's about getting you to capitulate to what they want you to do. Again, that Voltaire quote was, if they can make you believe absurdities, and believing absurdities is just playing into what they're doing. They can make you believe absurdities, they can make you commit atrocities. Which we've seen that play out in human history all too many times, and it's never been good. So at the end of the day, that's what this really is about. Even if you are a normal, sane person, even just playing into it just a little bit makes the crazy people think, cool, we got them. And then they can make you do that. What else can they make you do? But enough of the gender craziness. Let's move on to my favorite press secretary. LOL, KJP thinks we're all stupid. Karine Jean-Pierre, who is the press secretary for the White House, who is not good at her job, by the way. I feel like I've mentioned this so many times, but Jen Psaki, I disagreed with her a lot. But she was good at what she was doing. She at least sounded competent and confident in the lies and the misinformation that she was telling and spreading. KJP, on the other hand, is just as wrong as Jen Psaki. Jen Psaki. I don't believe in silent letters. But she's bad at it. Right? Like, imagine if you're saying my car is parked out in front of the house, right? And your car is not parked out in front of the house. Jen Psaki would say, yeah, I just parked out in front of the house, came inside. Right? And you're like, oh yeah, I kind of believe that. KJP, on the other hand, would say, my car's definitely parked outside. It's there. It's 100% there. And now you're like, oh. They're both lying about it. But I really, really don't believe the second one. KJP yesterday put up a menu of things, of how things are so much better and cheaper, especially this Thanksgiving. I'm going to let you watch this thing in its entirety, and we'll discuss. Check this out.
Just in time for holiday travel, gas prices are down $1.70 from their peak. Airline tickets are down 13% over the last year, and car rentals are down about 10%. And as we start preparing our Thanksgiving meals, grocery inflation is at its lowest level in over 2 years, with prices for eggs, milks, bacon, and fresh veggies lower than last year. In fact, according to the American Farm Bureau, the cost of a Thanksgiving dinner fell this year. Prices are down for turkey, stuffing, peas, cranberries, pie crust, and whipping cream. We had a big discussion about whipping cream in the back. I don't know what whipping cream is. I know whipped cream, but not whipping cream. Anyway, because wages are rising, this Thanksgiving dinner is the fourth cheapest ever as a percentage of average earnings. Finally, as we look ahead to holiday shopping, since last year, prices for toys are down about 4%, used cars and trucks are down 7%, and TVs are down 9%. Lowering costs for Americans continues to be the president's top economic priority, from strengthening supply chains to lowering energy and healthcare costs to cracking down on price gouging by banning hidden junk fees. President Biden's policy will continue bringing relief to American families.
Melody pointed this out. She would say, we have to be clear on this, by then again misleading everybody. Now, again, I don't think this necessarily needs explanation because it's so obvious and so dumb. The Biden administration and Democrats as a whole have voted to, and hold on, let's be fair here. Republicans during COVID, too, also spent an exorbitant amount of money. But at the end of the day, especially in the last 3 years, Democrat policy has led to massive inflation because of massive spending that the government didn't need to spend money on. Infusing the economy with cash has caused inflation to go through the roof and therefore prices to go through the roof. And wages, at least until this point, have not kept up with inflation over the entirety of the trajectory of the Biden administration. Maybe in a couple months, or for a couple months, maybe for a year, they've been standard. But you also got to remember the new inflation numbers, the new 5% is still on top of the 8% from last year and the 9% from the year before that. It's going down in growth year over year. That's like, okay, so for example, if day one, let's use days as years in this particular analogy. If day one, I punch you in the face 10 times. You're like, oh, this is not good. I don't like being punched in the face 10 times. But then day two, I say, okay, I'm only going to punch you an additional 8 times. Okay, well, day 0, I got punched in the face 10 times. Day 0, I got punched in the face 0 times. Day 1, I got punched in the face 10 times. Day 2, I only got punched an additional 8 times. Now it's 18 times on day 2, but the amount of punches in the face, in addition to the already punches in the face, has gone down. So that's good. And then the next day, day 3, we say, well, I'm only going to punch you in the face 6 additional times today, for a total of 24 punches in the face. Now, that's good news. That's what KJP is trying to tell you. This is good news. Because if you remember, at one time, we were adding 10 punches in the face a day. And now we're only adding 6 punches in the face a day. And the American people are saying, why don't you effing stop punching me in the face, please? But I don't know. I like, we've moved on from just misinformation and misleading to just straight up gaslighting. Just everything is just trying to be the Qui-Gon Jinn Jedi Master. Everything is fine. Prices are down. You can afford this. Everything is okay. But nobody believes it. Anyways. Yeah, of course, Mike says she should compare to 3 years ago. Yeah, that's the actual truth. Marcel says the world has gone crazy. is a comment from way earlier on, and it's unfortunate that KJP happens to be out here. But I was not talking about this. I was talking about Gavin Newsom appointing a diversity hire who doesn't live in California to be a California senator. And she's a black lesbian, which again doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form, except if you're racist and sexist on the left side of the aisle. Then those boxes checked does matter. But in regards to that, a comment a while ago, Jody says, "What? You're not a black lesbian? Who knew?" Talking about me, because I said if I was a black lesbian, maybe I would have a chance to be appointed California senator. But I still, unfortunately, I live here. And that is a disqualifying attribute if you want to be the senator from the state of California. But that was from a while ago. So anyways, let's see. That'll do it for us today. Appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. I know we've been super sporadic on when we get here. Yesterday, we were home, but just had a bunch of technical difficulties. Let's see. We'll be here tomorrow, not Thursday or Friday, and then back Monday for a little bit, and then we're back on the road for some stuff. But nevertheless, I met a couple of you out on the road in Idaho this weekend. Shoot, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting some of your names. I think Nikki came up in the Twin Falls show and said, "Hey, I watch your show every day." I'm like, man, I really, really appreciate that. So Nikki and all of those of you who came and said hi in Twin Falls and Blackfoot, Idaho, really, really appreciate you coming out and having a good time, good laugh with us. Yeah, it's been fun, it's been wild, and would love to see the rest of you out on the road sometime. But that'll do it for us today. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. Just type in JOBOB. You'll be able to find me pretty much anywhere. Social media. Nothing really to announce. Kind of a slow slog until the end of the year. You should go to America Fest. If you haven't already, you should get a ticket to America Fest. If you don't know what that is, it's in Phoenix, I think December 16th through the 19th. It is the biggest America party that you will ever find in this country. Well, not that America parties would exist in other countries, but it is a fantastic time. I would strongly recommend you going if you have any interest in that. Shoot me a message and I'll get you all the details and the pertinent information regarding that. So appreciate you sticking around, tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place. God bless America.